Autumn can be a melancholy time in the garden. After the fullness of summer, when everything is overflowing with life, this shift into autumn can feel abrupt. Flowers fade, colours dull, stems collapse under their own weight. The abundance we've tended all season begins to unravel. And as gardeners, we notice this keenly, sometimes with sadness, sometimes with resignation. There's also the work of autumn, which carries its own heaviness, cutting back plants, raking leaves, pulling out annuals that won't survive the frost, preparing beds for winter rest. Putting the garden to bed, as the saying goes, can feel less like a gentle lullaby and more like a long list of chores. But autumn invites us to something more. If we only see decline, we miss its deeper gift. Because the truth is, autumn is not just an ending, it is a transformation. The first thing you notice is the light. Gone is the harsh overhead glare of summer. Instead, the sun softens. It sits lower in the sky, pouring across the garden in slanting rays, turning the ordinary into something almost sacred. Every spider web strung between branches glitters with dew. Seed heads glow like lanterns. Even the air itself feels different, tinged with gold, more liquid somehow. Gardeners often talk about plants, soil and water, but light is as much a part of gardening as anything else. In autumn it becomes the star of the show. It highlights textures and silhouettes we barely noticed before. The lace of a skeleton leaf, the sway of a grass plume, the last flush of petals on a fading bloom. Autumn teaches us to see differently. There is, too, a beauty in what is passing. We live in a culture that often hides decay, preferring everything polished and pristine. But the garden has no such illusions. Plants complete their life cycles before our eyes. Flowers become seed, leaves return to soil, stems break down to feed the life that will rise again. And if we look closely, there's a dignity in that process. A stand of echinacea, their purple petals long gone, holds dark seed heads high, food for birds through the winter. The leaves of hostas collapsing into soft folds enrich the soil with their final gift. Even the twisting, browning vines have a sculptural grace. Autumn asks us to see that beauty, not despite the change, but because of it. Of course, autumn in the garden isn't just about observation. It's also about action, and that action, the chores, the tidying, can sometimes feel overwhelming. But when we shift our perspective, these tasks become something else. Gestures of care. Cutting back isn't about loss, it's about making space for new growth. Mulching isn't drudgery, it's a blanket, tucking the soil in for rest. Cleaning and sharpening tools isn't busy work, it's preparing them for the year ahead. When we tend to the garden in autumn, we're also tending to ourselves. We're learning patience, resilience and trust. We're reminded that letting go is not failure, it's part of the cycle. And while autumn feels like an ending, it is also full of beginnings. This is the season for planting spring bulbs, tulips, daffodils, crocuses, tiny promises buried beneath the soil, waiting for their moment months from now. It's the time to scatter wildflower seeds that need the cold to germinate. It's when trees and shrubs settle in most easily, their roots growing quietly even as the air cools. There is hope embedded in these acts, a reminder that what looks like dormancy is in fact preparation. The garden is always moving forward, even when it looks still. More than anything, autumn in the garden teaches us something about ourselves. It reminds us that cycles of growth and rest are natural, that endings carry beauty as well as sorrow, that light in its softer forms can be just as striking as light in its brilliance. And perhaps most importantly, it reminds us to slow down, to see the details we rush past in summer, to find joy not only in abundance but also in simplicity, in a single leaf, a single ray of sunlight, a single seed head silhouetted against the evening sky. So yes, autumn can be melancholy. It can bring sadness as the vibrancy of summer slips away, but it also holds majesty, awe and quiet magic if we are willing to notice. A garden in autumn whispers to us about impermanence, about transformation, about hope hidden in rest. It tells us that endings are never just endings, they are part of the great rhythm of renewal. And if we let it, autumn will teach us not just how to be gardeners, but how to be human. Thank you for joining me in the garden today. If autumn speaks to you too, I'd love to hear your reflections in the comments. And if you'd like more seasonal journeys like this, don't forget to subscribe and share this video with a fellow gardener.